The views and opinions of this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers. There is substantial risk of loss in trading futures and options, which you should carefully consider prior to trading. Well, right now on the program, we want to catch up with our friends at Agoro Carbon. They have announced a 12-year agreement with Microsoft to deliver 2.6 million soil carbon removal credits through U.S. crop and rangeland projects. Here to tell us more about this, he is Commercial Director for Agoro Carbon Alliance. Dylan Lubba is with us here today. Dylan, it's good to have you join us on the program, and exciting news from Agoro with this partnership with Microsoft, and I understand it is a very large agriculture-based carbon removals commitment. Is that right?
That is correct. Thank you, Jesse. Yeah, it's the first time I've been on Market Talk, so thanks for having me, and more than happy to talk more about the deal.
Well, let's dive in on this. And what brought about this commitment for Microsoft and looking to create a multi-year partnership like this? Can you give folks some background on how this came together?
Yeah, absolutely. So Microsoft has very aggressive sustainability targets. Part of that is the procurement of carbon removal credits. And really, for Microsoft, they truly see the potential that carbon sequestration in nature's biggest, or one of nature's biggest sinks has. And so Microsoft, even as a large tech company, is trying to drive the carbon market by getting into these large deals or large transactions with high quality carbon projects, soil carbon being one of them. In terms of how it really kicked off, this has been an engagement that is almost 2 years old. So we've been talking with Microsoft for some time, getting them used to what we're trying to achieve from our mission to scale regen ag, utilizing carbon finance, which is essentially the purchasing of carbon credits. But yeah, it's been a long process of high level and deep due diligence, site visits, and then obviously the commercial side. The ultimate objective here, though, was to get together and design and structure a long-term flagship deal that could serve as a blueprint for other carbon credit buyers out there. We feel that large deals like this is what is required to continue driving the interest in soil carbon and continue driving this deal.
Well, I want to get into the farmer aspect of this here in a bit and talk more on that from Agoro. But as you alluded to, and we kind of mentioned, I mean, this is an unprecedented scale and the length of time here. We're talking 12 years, and all of this is verified carbon credits. And really, to a lot of what you said, it is it's a long time coming here, and a partnership that Microsoft has seemingly indicated they want to be a part of this whole conversation surrounding carbon sequestration and more.
Absolutely. So the deal, what's really interesting is Agoro Carbon has two large scale projects, one that is dedicated to cropland and the other rangeland, all in the US. So the deal does cover both projects. And ultimately, how we generate these credits is by enrolling producers into our programs and assisting them from a financial perspective and an agronomic perspective in implementing these practices. When we talk about the row crop sector, we're looking at cover cropping and reduced to zero tillage. And then focusing on rangeland, we're looking at improved or rotational grazing, as well as some seeding, etc. And so really what that ultimately means is these practices over time remove carbon from the atmosphere, stores it in the soil, which is our natural sink. And like you mentioned, these credits are quantified and verified through third parties and converted into carbon credits, which we will ultimately deliver to Microsoft.
Let's talk more about Agoro's approach with farmers and ranchers. And I've had this conversation a few times, but it's always nice to kind of have the refresher for folks who still might not be aware of how Agoro works with their farmers and ranchers, looking at all these regenerative practices and more. And a lot of times, Dylan, I know that a lot of farmers are already doing many of these things on their operation already, and they're just maybe not a part of or leveraging, working with a carbon company such as Goro, right?
Yeah, we're addressing these farmers that fit within our eligibility criteria. Oftentimes, we come across those producers who are looking to implement these programs, or sorry, these practices, but haven't found the right program for whatever reason. Maybe the contracts are not designed specific to their type of operation or what they're trying to achieve. So we like to think that we have within our limits a bespoke nature about us. How it really works is that we will have our enrollment team come to your operation, do an assessment on what you're currently implementing, what you're trying to implement, and see how that can fit into the program. And where possible, we will get to the contracting stage and see what combinations of practices fit, and what options are available.
And I think one of the best things with conversations I've had with you and other folks at Agoro, and I think you can speak to this as well, is that farmers, a lot of times they'll enter a contract and then they won't get the support they need, or they won't hear from folks. But I know with Agoro, you guys, your team work with folks every step of the way through the life of a 10-year contract, for instance. I mean, there's a lot of questions that can come up with this whole carbon, process and more. So, I mean, talk about that aspect of this. As I know, again, Agoro, you work with every single producer every step of the way, right?
Yeah, and every producer in our experience is different. And so the touch points that we want to provide are according to what the producer's needs are and what their wants are. But ultimately, at a high level, yeah, to your point, we've invested significantly in our growth success team. And this is a dedicated team that is not a contracting team. This is a team that is essentially looking after our customer, which is the producer. And so this team is dedicated to help you from an agronomic perspective, or just be a sounding board if you want to bounce ideas off this team or have any questions. And then also, and very important, there along the way in terms of data collection, what data you need to provide, how can this data be attained. This is an important pain point for soil carbon specifically. What we don't want is to enroll growers or producers and then not be there for them. And we take that job very seriously. It's an integral part of us being a quality or top tier soil carbon program. And so that's a very serious piece of the program. So I'm happy that you share that sentiment, Jesse. It's good to hear.
Definitely. Well, and with this partnership with Microsoft, I'll ask you this here as we get ready to close things out today, but could this agreement between Agoro and Microsoft, do you think this might be a blueprint for other agreements as we continue to kind of evolve and develop the whole soil carbon industry and conversation more broadly, Dylan?
Absolutely. That's definitely the objective and the intention. Soil carbon has a significant amount of interest, but to date, the transactions that have occurred have not been at large scale, or has not been at a long-term length or contract length. And so really what we need scale, and to have scale, we need large agreements with high quality and prominent credit purchases. So together with Microsoft, what we have tried to put together is a flagship carbon transaction dedicated to soil carbon. And yes, we do hope that other buyers, reach out and say, how was this done? And would be happy to, extend this agreement to other types of buyers and show them how we've done it. For Agoro Carbon as well as Microsoft, the intent is to drive this market and to continue its upward trajectory.
Dylan, great thoughts and perspective on this. Good to catch up. Anything final you would mention or reiterate about this partnership or anything else that is ongoing at Agoro Carbon Alliance?
I guess I'll take the opportunity to just congratulate the Agoro Carbon team. I think it's been an endorsement of the quality of Agoro Carbon's people and how our people work with our growers and our producers out there. And so I would encourage folks to reach out to Agoro Carbon and see how we could help you as well.
And I'm sure agorocarbonalliance.com, that is probably the best place to get started. I know, Dylan, you guys have a ton of resources, information, and more online, don't you?
Absolutely.
agorocarbonalliance.com for more information. With that, Dylan Lubba, Commercial Director for Agoro Carbon, thanks for joining us today on the show. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Jason.
Make sure to subscribe to the Market Talk YouTube channel. You can watch our latest interviews with top market analysts in the country, find bonus content, and much more. It's easy. Just go to youtube.com/@MarketTalkAg and hit the subscribe button. Or you can search for Market Talk Ag on YouTube.